Yeah, kid! Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. I am Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit. I'm doubling up. I have double identities. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe I'll go from one to the other, back. Today's episode is brought to you by no other than Captain Permit. Expediting services, drafting plans, architectural plans. We service the entire island from the Queens border all the way out to the Hamptons and everything in between. You will not get a better value. You will not get a faster service. Give us a call, Captain Permit, 516-777-SOLD. Visit us on the web at captainpermit.com. Email info@captainpermit. And obviously, if you have houses that smell like cat pee, have 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, call me. I want to buy it. That's what the commercial said, or at least used to say. 516-777-SOLD. If you're behind on your mortgage, anything, you inherited a house, you want to get rid of it, that's commercial, land, development, you name it, we do it if it has to do with real estate, all right? Email me, charles@handsomehomebuyer.com. All right, today we're going a little bit different direction. We got a very, very, very dynamic guest, handsome guy, kind of looks like the guy Tweeter from what was that movie again?
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights, kind of looks like Tweeter, only better looking, and doesn't drink at all. That's the difference. He, in my opinion, very, very young guy, hustler, very exciting guy to watch. I admire him in a lot of ways, high energy, and he's very similar to when you look back and you kind of see all the very, very successful people that are older that have made their mark and made their careers. He, in my opinion, has all those things, all those characteristics. My prediction, and you heard it here, what's today's date?
10/5/2018.
10/5. You're not supposed to be talking. I haven't introduced you yet. 10/5/2018. This gentleman is going to be the future of commercial real estate on Long Island, as far as brokerage goes. His name is Matthew Shane from All Island Commercial.
Charlie, thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So, Jesus, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, why? I mean, you're a really young guy. You're 22.
Yes.
Right? You're a really young guy, 22 years old. Been hustling, working forever. Super high energy.
9 years now. 13.
ADD guy like myself. I guess the first thing I'm really interested in the world of, I mean, housing market has been very, very hot for the last 10 years. Right? And in a world where there's 27,000 realtors and the overwhelming majority of them are residential realtors, right? What made you go into commercial? Actually, before that, you're like part of a real estate family, like a real estate pedigree, a lineage.
57 years now, yeah.
57 years. Started with your grandmother?
My grandfather. My grandmother, and so on and so forth. We got my mother, my father, my sister, my uncle, and me.
So it's just
a whole family event. It really is. It's crazy.
You've always been centered, and it's all you changed it. You made it. They didn't really do commercial real estate. They did residential real estate.
No, they did residential, exactly.
And then, so I guess to get back to my original question is, at 22 years old, what made you pursue the commercial avenue versus the residential avenue like your family has?
Flat out, I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. I like money, and it's just that's what excites me. I don't really get off by walking in and saying, "Wow, look at that kitchen." You know, that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, because commercial, not that one's better or worse, but commercial agents and brokers are very, very different than residential. It's just
completely.
It's a different group. It's a different mindset. Obviously, with residential, it's very, very emotional. Right? You walk into a house, either you love it or you hate it. You're dealing with first-time home buyers. Commercial, you're primarily dealing with business people, and it's very dollars and cents.
Very blunt, very straightforward.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest mistakes that property owners and sellers make is by hiring a residential broker to sell a commercial piece of property. No, huge mistake.
I agree 150%. 150%. I mean, there's so many, when you're selling residential real estate, it's very emotional and it's very like comp to comp. It's like a cape on this block, 2 blocks away, sold for X. Yeah. This cape in similar condition is going to sell for X or somewhere in that neighborhood.
Totally.
But when you're dealing with commercial, there's a whole different level of creativity. There's an in-depth math equation that you have to kind of know all the pieces to. It's a very, very different animal. It also is. It seems to be a lot more corporate. Like, whereas I'm getting calls at 2 a.m. on a Saturday to come look at some, moldy house. You guys don't really, you work more of like a 9 to 5-esque kind of like life.
Well, 9 to 5 would be nice, but it's more like, 6:30 until about 10. At least for me, I pick up my phone. Call me at 11:30. See if I pick up.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're a savage. You'll pick up. You're pissed off that on Sunday you can't work.
I am pissed off. Yeah, you are 100% right.
But the rest of the commercial world, for the most part, they don't work on the weekends, right? It's a very different kind of animal.
It really is, and I love it. I love every little bit of it. Truly.
So, did you start off selling houses, or did you go directly into commercial real estate?
I started off. I got my license at 18 while I was in high school. My friends went away upstate for like some ski trip.
Okay.
And I stayed home and said, you know what, I'm going to go and get my real estate license. And that comes from just doing the most productive thing at every moment of each day.
So I got to stop you there for a second. So obviously, so your grandfather's a realtor, a broker, your grandmother's a realtor, your father, your sister, everybody in the equation. Was there pressure for you to be a realtor?
Oh God!
Did you fight it and then just give in and say fuck it?
I did fight it. I fought it. I fought it really hard. I tried to do construction. I owned Shane Home Improvements, which I still have open now. I'm not a very good carpenter. I will admit to that right away. And then I was a stockbroker and an investment banker. I started doing stocks, trading them at about 12 years old. American Airlines, my first big one that hit. God, I wish I held on to that stock, but
Shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was on Wall Street for 6 months. I worked at 29 Broadway, right by the Bowl. Everyone was taking photographs. It looked really cool. And that was the ultimate goal for me at the time. But one thing led to another, and I ended up coming back to the family business. But I'm so happy that I had those other, outside experiences because I cherry-picked all these different things from each industry that I was in.
No, it
really worked out.
And you have a lot of experience for someone that's very young. I think the thing that a lot of people overlook is the sales experience. So I think that was probably very valuable for you. I'm kind of in the same boat in a lot of different ways. I was in a family business. My father owned a Mako for years. He's like, go into the business. You'll open your own, et cetera, et cetera. And I fought him forever until finally I gave in, which ultimately wasn't what I wanted to do forever, but it was an unbelievable learning and growing experience. My father's partner in the other one was a classically trained salesman, right? So this guy sold Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door in the 70s, right? And made like $80,000 a year doing it, which is just think about that.
Back then, yeah, wow.
That's a shit ton of money, A, and B. Do you know what it's got to be like to walk up to somebody's door with a vacuum cleaner and be like, let me in your house?
I know what it's like to walk up to the door, but with the vacuum cleaner, that's a task right there.
So I dragged it back, and the guy killed it. So he was trained by, he went through, you ever heard of Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar, Tommy Hopkins, like these are like the old school, like art science of sales. And I feel like that's missing, because everybody sells. Doesn't matter what business you're in. Right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You and I are successful because we can sell. And selling kind of has a negative connotation to it, but I don't think it does. I think it's just being able to clearly communicate the features and benefits of what you're selling, right? And you feel that it genuinely gives value to people. Like when you and I go to do a deal and I'm like, listen, I think it works at this. And you're like, no, I think it works at this. I genuinely believe that you believe that that's the value, right? And it works and it makes money and it's good. And I look at it a different respect, but I believe that you believe what you're saying 150%. Oh,
completely. I do. But I want to touch upon you saying that we're great salespeople. I really am a horrible salesman. I really am. I'm very good at getting people to open their ears and listen to what I have to say and present the opportunity to them.
Being salesman is not a negative thing. People think it's negative. It's not.
Oh, when you think about a salesperson, you think of like a gigantic sleazeball. The guy gets out of his car, he's got the hair slicked back, he's got the suit on, and he's ready to take your house.
But that's like, there's stereotypes. Everybody is a salesman in every business. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're an NBA athlete and you're on the court, you're selling, right? Through what you're doing, through what you're wearing, everybody sells.
Completely, yeah.
It's not, and it becomes, when I first got into this, he's like, oh, you're going to be a salesman. Like, I said exactly the same thing you did. I'm like, I don't want to be a salesman. It's fucking sleazy. Like, I don't want it to be that. But that training has helped me, has changed my life. Like, that guy is part of the reason why I am where I am and where I will go, because I can relay my opinion effectively to people. And that's what I think sales is. I don't think sales is like, oh, I'm going to sell this, bullshit diet pill to somebody and it doesn't do anything.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. But you sell with everything it is that you do in life, whether it's whether it's actually selling a product or getting someone to see your side of things.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm saying embrace your salesman gift. Don't turn your back on it. Embrace your salesman gift. For those of you who don't know, Matt is an absolute savage. He's insanely aggressive in a positive way. I mean, he kicks ass for his clients. I deal with, again, tons of agents out there. I don't have just everybody on this show, although I love everybody. But he's great at what he does, which is why I think he's going to be someone to watch moving forward. So you fought it. You're like, I'm going to do other businesses, right?
Yeah.
Dad, F you. I'm going to be in construction. I'm going to be in stocks. And then eventually you just kind of like...
Came back.
Yeah.
I came back into it, and people laughed at me. And then I had a goal of listing $12 million a month of property, and I even laughed at that. I said, you know what? And I'm doing it. I am doing it. I'm killing it. And someone told me, a very wealthy man who's in real estate told me that you can't make $1 million a year in real estate, and I'm proving them wrong. As a broker, I'm saying. As a broker.
Why would he? That's a ridiculous thing.
I said, is it I agree with you.
You can make more than that on one deal.
Yes, you can. I totally agree with you, but that's what he told me, and he's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, and I've lived the same thing. I mean, when I first got into, I don't know if I ever told you this, when I was first going to do this and I started talking to people, I'm going to flip houses. They're like, kid, you can't flip a house. And then I'm like, I'm going to buy 100 houses a year. And I'm like, kid, you can't buy 100 houses. You can't buy one house a year.
What you're doing is amazing.
So,
it is amazing.
I mean, and vice versa. But I think in a lot of ways, you and I have a lot in common. And I think successful people in general are very kind of similar.
Oh, completely. We are creatures of habit. I don't know. Do you eat at the same restaurants all the time?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I'm a creature of habit.
But you said something to me off the air before that's very relevant because I consider myself to be. You said to me, I'm an addict, right? You said you're an addict.
Completely.
And I feel like I'm the same way. I have an addictive personality, which thank God I'm not into
the bad things.
The bad things. But I'm obsessive with whatever it is that I do, and I think that's what it takes to be great at anything. And you were telling me to do the same way.
And you're very disciplined too. Like if you told yourself not to do something, you're not going to do it anymore. Flat out, like it.
Yeah, and I think, but I mean, I see that in you, and I see you, and I wish I was doing it at your age. I mean, that's the thing. Like you, I don't know if you feel like you're behind or like you're old.
I am behind. I am behind where I want to be. I'm not there.
It's good that you feel that way, but you're 22. Like I wish I had that focus at 22. Like if at 22 I realized what it took to be great, it would be a different ballgame. Like, I didn't learn that until I was probably about 30, which I'm happy to have learned it at 30 because I feel like some people never do. But you know it now.
You know what? I don't know that I would want my kids to have the mindset that I have at my age.
Why?
Because I want them to enjoy.
Why?
If
Did
this
you
is
not enjoy your life?
I love what I do, but I can't take a vacation. I can't take 4 days off to go away on a vacation because I feel like why am I not at work? I feel guilty. If I'm not working, I feel guilty. Did
you feel guilty in DR?
Yeah, I felt guilty. It was a 7-day trip.
How was DR?
We went on a Groupon trip, okay? We booked it 3 days before we left. And that's what I always do. I book trips. I told you the other day, I said, let's go to like Europe or something for the weekend. Or do something crazy.
Like, let's go to Iceland. I'm like, bro, we gotta go to Iceland.
Totally. And, God, where am I going with this? Don't book anything off of Groupon for like a trip like that.
The moral of the story is,
if you want to do like a boxing class or you want to do like a cooking class, whatever it may be, don't book a trip.
The moral of this podcast is don't ever book a vacation on Groupon at 3 days notice. If you get nothing else from the rambling, it's that.
Half the resort was under construction. Leave it at that.
So you say, all right, Dad, Dad, you're right. I'm going to do it. You get your license, and what happens?
We went 15 months. I went 15 months without getting a paycheck. Flat out, because when it comes to commercial real estate, you need...
Wait, so you went right into commercial real estate?
I did residential real estate for about 6 months.
Okay.
And I would be,
these first-time home buyers.
I would sit and contemplate and think, how do I make more money? How do I do more? And how do I do something more involved with numbers? Because I wasn't into it. So what I did was I did research on commercial real estate. I looked at the top companies across the country and saw what they did differently. And I cherry-picked different ideas from them in addition to other things that I had. And I told people my aspirations. You won't be successful. Within the first 2 years, I had the biggest commission check in company history. I think I had a check for $98,000. And I did an amazing job. I saved somebody that was getting foreclosed on They were about to be foreclosed on, and I got a bidding war to happen on the property, and we got pretty much full price. And when people have a list pendants against the property, we're going to be foreclosed on within a month.
It's a ticking time.
People start lowballing the sharks come around, and they were there making those low offers. We had so many offers that we ended up with a great price. I saved this guy's retirement who had been working for 42 years as a mechanic, and they are just.
This is a residential deal or commercial deal? Really? And at that point,
his wife hugged me, and she even let out a tear, flat out. And that to me makes it all worthwhile. On the other hand, you got clients where you can. I had a client. He was listed at $850, right? And he was in an area where properties were not selling. Half the block was for sale. Okay, Woodcliff Avenue. I won't give the address, but Woodcliff Avenue. He had been listed with 3 other brokers for $850 asking price. Could not sell. I came up to him. I said, I said to him, Jerry, I can't believe I'm telling you this, but your asking price is not the problem. It's just your marketing. Your marketing was so atrocious, and I can't believe I'm telling you this right now, but I actually want to raise your asking price. I want to raise it $148,000 more to $998, and I think I'm going to get it done for you. I got him 11 offers in the first 13 days. We ended up with a deal at $985, all cash, and we closed shortly after. Instead of saying, thank you did such a great job for me, he said, I'm paying you $60,000 for 2 weeks of work. And, that just blows your mind. And you'd be amazed.
Yeah, I could see that, though. I could see that. I'm at school at NYU, and I have a professor. I had a law professor over there. He was a great guy. I actually have soup with him every Thursday before class now. And he told me this story about how, he represents, most of his deals are $1 billion plus right now.
Wow.
So there was an issue. There was a title issue or whatever it is, and he ended up finding a loophole to save his client $150 million. It was something like,
wow.
It was like cartoon money. So he gives the guy the bill for doing it. It was like $200,000, and the guy's like, "Fuck you, I'm not paying you." So shit like that's crazy, and it goes on. So I believe you when you say that.
My jaw just dropped when you told me that, flat out. That's horrible.
So what happened with the guy? Obviously he had to pay you.
Yeah, he paid me.
But he was a dick about it.
Yeah. And do you get any referrals for it? No. How about, I've done deals for other people, too, where I've gotten them above full price, and then, when it comes time to close, they're like, lower your commission by another point, otherwise I'm going to file a complaint to the state against you and said that you did something wrong. And I've had people do that. Yeah, I've had people do that.
Wow.
It is bad.
This is new and different.
We see the worst.
Is this because
people?
And why do you think it's because the dollar amount is higher? Is it because you're dealing with a certain kind of person, because that kind of shit doesn't happen in the residential world like that. I don't hear those. You'll hear a story about you get your normal kind of dickhead investor who says to the agent I didn't really make as much as I thought, can you take a point off, which is shitty, but you hear that. But
some people get to where they are by being brittle, flat out. I think that you and me are a testament to the fact that the nice guy does not have to finish last. But not everyone operates like you and I, and sometimes I don't see those corners that people, those cuts that people make to get to spots, because I don't think like that. How can I screw this person over? How can I save money? I don't look to hurt people. Flat out.
So basically, you do residential for 6 months. You're like, F this. You get into commercials. You get your first deal. The guy's
15 months, no paycheck. 15 months without a paycheck.
And I think that's just kind of a testament to everybody lives in this kind of world of instant gratification.
Totally.
So, before I ever flipped the house, I trained and studied for 3 to 4 years, right? And the entire time, if you're going to be successful, you kind of have to have this delusional vision of what the future looks like. So you have to see it. You got to be able to touch it. Even though at times it just seems impossible and everybody's you're never going to do it. Kid, you can't make $1 million a year selling commercial real estate, or whatever they're going to say to you.
Yeah.
But you have to have that belief. So 15 months, no paycheck, got the paycheck, and you're proof of concept. That's it.
Keep on going. Don't stop.
So that was 4 years ago?
3.5. 3.5 years ago.
When's your birthday?
December 24th.
You're a Sagittarius?
Apparently, according to something I read on Facebook yesterday, yeah. Apparently now it changed. I thought it was a Capricorn, though. But the whole thing changed.
I think Capricorn's earlier in the year. So obviously, I can't ask you what they say about Sagittarius because you didn't even know you were one.
No, Capricorn. I'm sure I'm a Capricorn, but
I'm pretty sure you're Sagittarius. Actually, I think I'm 99.9%.
Okay, we'll go with what you say. All right.
So, hold on. Fuck it. We'll look it up later. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to post it. But I think so. I might be wrong. Oh, no, I think you're right.
I won't hold you to it.
No, I think you're right, actually. No, I think whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so you do it, and you're like, all right, that's it. And then you've been just balls to the walls nonstop, right?
Nonstop. Keep on going. when I first got into the business, I thought like for the first month and a half, I was like, these people know their homes better than we do. I mean, like, what are we selling them?
This is when you're doing residential.
Yeah, when residential, I said, has my family been BSing people this whole time? You know, how can we sell their house better than they can? And after about a few months into the business, I said, I know way more than these homeowners. They should definitely work with us, let alone people that have been doing it for 35 years, 30 years, 40 years. I mean, forget about it. I think that they should do away with people that do real estate part-time flat out, because they're not honest. They don't go to people and say that they do this part-time and they're only available on the weekends or after 5 o'clock. And those are the kind of realtors that give people a bad name, flat out. That give realtors a bad name. Flat out. So feel free to debate me on that one, but
you're in the game. You're doing it now. At this point, you're doing it by yourself, right? Not today.
With commercial, I'm totally self-taught.
No. But as far as like when you started doing it, you were by now. You actually have a team. You have people.
I have a team. I have assistants, and they work with me.
So how many? I mean, if I ask you, how many listings do you have this year? I know last year you had a crazy month. You took in 15 listings or something crazy like that.
I think I took in this year 86 listings.
That's fucking retarded. So I guess my question becomes, I think people want to know, because I always get this question, how do you scale that? Like, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Even for a young guy with energy all day. How do you scale, build a team to still provide the same service on the 87th listing that you did on the second listing or the first listing?
Honestly, I could handle 150 listings. I could. I have more time that I could make. I could work harder.
By yourself, or?
Oh, I know, with my team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
I will never sacrifice the quality that I provide when I go into quantity.
Oh, of course.
And that's why I keep on adding more and more people on to make sure that we can handle it. Because if I can't give them the best service, I won't take on more clients. When I meet with commercial, it's different than residential because for so many different reasons, but it's a two-way street. When I call somebody and say, hey, I want to meet with you about your property, they're like, oh, what do you want? What do you want to list my property? No, I don't know that I want to list your property yet, flat out, but I'd like to meet with you and, kind of just go from there. Because I don't know that I want to work with certain people. I only have so much time.
Which, I mean, that's as much as you say you don't want to be a salesman, it's a brilliant salesman technique, right? Because on the one hand, I think you're being honest, because like guys used to come into the Mako and they were just giving me problems before we painted the car. And I'm like, listen, sir, with all due respect, I don't want to paint your car. Or ma'am, I don't want to paint your car. And they'd be like, why? I'm like, because if I'm having this much trouble with you now and I haven't touched your car yet, how bad is it going to be after I paint the car? Totally. So, and vice versa, in real estate, same thing. There's just certain people that you don't want to deal with for whatever reason.
Let the competition have them, okay?
But at the same time, it's also like a great half a mind fuck, because now you're kind of like taking the power away from them. This is real. Like you say to them, no, I don't want your property, and they're like, well, why doesn't he want my property? It becomes this whole like subconscious thing, and then they meet you and they realize that you're great at what you do, and then you have the listing. So great technique. I hope, if nothing else besides the Groupon thing, I think everybody should take note of that point right there.
Would be a good idea. It would be.
I didn't want to steal your thunder, man. Don't worry about it. I don't think anyone's they're gonna steal that, but it's a brilliant thing. But my big question is, like what people ask me, at what point were you like, shit, I can't do all this myself. I need a staff, right? And then how do you go about strategically hiring and developing standard operating procedure for them? Because they're on it. Like if I call you about something, like you're like, I don't know, I forgot their names, but you're like, so-and-so, I need this, and it's in my email in 30 seconds.
I can't remember. I have a horrible memory, and I don't like to say the word can't, never, impossible. These are the words that I took out of my vocabulary, and I always stop myself when I say them. I have a hard time remembering things, flat out. So everything that I do, I take notes on. Every person, every conversation, and I was having great phone calls with people, and then I'd have to stop and take a note on it. I said, if only I could continue my momentum and make the next phone call. So then I hired somebody to do that for me. Then I hired somebody else for another spot, then another spot, then another spot, and just keep on focusing and train them in that one spot there, and then have somebody else come underneath them and take their spot and then move them up, and we just keep on growing. The reason why I keep on growing the team is because I have to. I have to in order to provide the best service for my clients.
Of course.
And
you can't do everything yourself. It's just not possible, bro.
It's not you could work 7 days a week, 24/7 for 100 years in this business and still not know everything. It's too big.
And when you get busy, you realize the biggest asset you have is your time. It's the only thing you can't buy more of. So you have to start to work efficiently, and then you have to replace yourself to do things that aren't the highest and best use of your time. Otherwise, you can't continue to grow.
Correct. I agree.
So the big thing is you just went out on your own. Like, you're literally in the process of going out on your own.
I am in the process of moving
physically.
to a new office,
Physically. Maurice the carpet man did put the carpet in. So you're like,
he did a great job.
You're there. When's the moving date?
Before the end of the year. When I first said I'm going to do it, I'm like, 2 weeks, I'm out of here, I'm gone, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's throw our roll and take our time. So
this is like kind of this is a situation where I can relate to also. So I was obviously in business with family, and then it comes to a point in time where you kind of make the leap, you move.
Me and you, we could go to therapy together,
right?
We could spend an hour on the couch.
So and it's a very tough decision for me. I went back and forth. I'm like, do I stay in the body shop business? Do I stay with my family? Do I leave? Like, what do I do? But I think it's very important, and I hope that we remember this as we get older and when we have kids, if we ever have kids, right? Is that every generation is different, right? And their reality isn't our reality. Like, our parents' reality from when they were growing up is not our reality today. We're living in a very, very different world. So there comes a point in time as parents where I feel like you teach your kids, you give them everything, and then there's a time when you kind of have to let them go because you can't. There's kind of nothing more than you can give them. You can support them, but the modern business world is different than their business world when they came up. And for that reason, sometimes there's separation and people go their own ways, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I went through it. I did it. It was dramatic. I'm just kind of like curious to know what it's like for you being in that moment today.
It's very important that my family knows I'm not leaving the family. I'm leaving the family business. Okay, so. But, even though I'm leaving, I am. They're still going to be my problem, flat out. So when I know that someday I'm going to have to come back and help them out, take over the reins over there too. But the biggest reason why I'm doing it is for my employees that work for me. I cannot let their growth be prohibited, flat out. So I have to move for them. If it was just me and I was a one-man team still, I would stay.
And I got to commend you for that for a lot of reasons. I mean, you got to think most people in your situation. There's the name All Island's been out there forever. Like, you guys are, Wantua staples. Everybody knows you guys. You're right across the street from the train station.
Next to Mulcahy's, come on.
Next to Mulcahy's, Monday Night Weeds, out of the weeds. I remember very, very well. A lot of people in your situation could just coast through it. They're like, my family's been in business for 56 years. Everybody knows us. I can get my real estate license. I can sell some houses, and I can just chill.
And I'm making great money. I mean, we're making great money.
But for you to kind of leave everything you've ever known, like leave your comfort zone and your family at a very young age to then go to pioneer into the commercial world, which is not, I mean, now you do it, but it's not like you have a 50-year history in commercial. You don't. I don't. Your family doesn't. You are the commercial guy.
I am the commercial guy.
You are the commercial guy. I mean, I see your pops actually taking commercial listings, and I feel like that has to kind of be some of your influence there.
And we're both named Richard Matthew Shane, and it's just... If you take on a commercial, you need to hire a strictly commercial realtor. Okay, if you're going to sell commercial real estate, you don't hire somebody that sells residential and commercial. Commercial brokers will not work with them. Totally
different angle. I mean, the places that you advertise are different. The way in which you do it. I mean, I do have. I'm going to air this. I have a commercial broker beef, right? And I guess it's not your fault. It's your, like, as a collective broker, you guys are trying to maximize the money for your clients, which is what you're supposed to do. But the commercial world, when I look at a deal, there's and I look at the NOI or look at any of these other things, there's so much stuff that's left out of it. And then my biggest beef with you guys is that you guys will price properties based on cash flow that's not there. Like, if you have a 10-unit building and 3 of the units are vacant, you can't price the thing at a 5 cap when all the fucking units are occupied when they're not.
The pro forma. Yeah, the pro forma.
Yeah. Great. This isn't to you. This is to every commercial broker out there.
I saw the other day a $50 million property hit the market in Brooklyn, and the guy is advertising it at a cap rate based upon what it's going to produce in 20 years. And it's still a 2.34 cap. In 20 years, it'll be a 2.34 cap. That's crazy.
It's freaking mental. It's mental. I mean, ultimately, those things sit there, whatever. But that's my one beef with the commercial world. My one beef with the commercial world is, like, you really before you invest in real estate, you need the education. Like I said, I have I have 3 to 4 years training extensively before I ever did anything, and that's single family. Now, when you start to get in the commercial world is a totally different animal. It's totally buyer beware. Like, you have to know every aspect of it, or you could really get yourself in trouble. And that's not the broker's fault, because he doesn't know, or she doesn't know what you're going to do with the property. You could rezone it. You could, do this. You could do that. You could have a tenant in your pocket who's going to pay some exorbitant amount of rent for whatever reason. They don't know. That's not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to sell it, bring you opportunity, and make as much money for their client as possible. My one beef is, Matt is handing me his tried and true slogan, which is pride, honesty, integrity, trust first, business second. I believe it. Dude, that's why you're here. I fucking love you.
Trust first, business second. So if you want to start buying commercial real estate, you need to get hooked up with a broker that you like, that you trust. Okay, you don't even have to like them.
You need the education, though, too. You need to know.
To be educated.
Yeah, and part of the education is like building a team, right? And part of building a team is getting great commercial brokers like Matt to work with you. But you got to really know what you're doing. But this is I'm airing my beef to the entire commercial community right now. Stop pricing shit at a 5 cap when half the units are vacant. It just doesn't. It's just impossible. It doesn't happen. It's never going to work. And here's the thing that you guys like. I mean, again, I'm not saying you don't get it. You do. But the bank isn't going to fund that deal. The bank is going to put in all these things. The bank is going to put in a vacancy rate, a capital expenditure factor, reserves, etc., management, maintenance, utilities, and then people can't get financing. So then you're just wasting time.
It goes back to having a good team. I have the best mortgage guy around. His name is Garrett DeTrano, and this guy will tell me.
Call him.
You have to give him a call.
Does he just is commercial?
He will let me know.
Just commercial.
Just commercial.
Okay.
He will let me know within 40 hours whether or not a guy is here or nay, and he doesn't sugarcoat it at all. He's like an older, grumpier version of me, but he is honest. He is just so straightforward. He's wonderful. He really is. God sent.
I think from the investment point, I think guys have to realize like all the pieces that are involved in this thing, right? It's not like in the flipping world where people like an agent's like, oh, you're gonna buy it for $200, you're gonna put $50 into it, and you're gonna sell it for $4, you're gonna make $150,000. Is that enough from you? I'm like, first of all, there's so much more that goes into that. People don't even realize. There's so many pieces to that puzzle. The same thing with commercial. Like if we're on the commercial topic, so you have your gross rents, right, or your possible gross rents.
Yeah.
You have your vacancy, which is an expense, which is depending on your asset class and depending on the market that you're in, the market will dictate what the vacancy rate is. So like on multifamily right now, the vacancy rate is 3%, but the banks are going to factor in 5%. So you got to figure 5% of the money you make right out the door for vacancy. And someone will say, oh, but the building's occupied. It's not vacant. It's going to be vacant at some point in time. You're going to have tenant turnover, whatever it is. Right? You have your capital expenditure factor, which is money that you take in, but you put it on the side for major shit that will break in the future. You have management fees, right? So someone has to manage it. Even if you're managing it, when you get to a certain point, you're going to have to hire someone to help you because you can't manage all this stuff, right? So you have to pay them.
Portfolio of 50 properties, yeah, you need to hire somebody.
Yeah. You have to. Or even, right? You have to hire somebody. You have insurance, you have taxes, you have... what else is there? Utilities, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's so many line items here, and everything will take longer to do, cost more money than you think it will be. So you have to like have that cushion or you're going to get screwed. And then you have to think to yourself, all right, I have $1 million or $200,000 or whatever it is. How much work am I doing to this? I have to be rewarded for that. So if I just put that in something passive like a treasury or a stock or whatever, and there's no maintenance, I have to be rewarded and make more money for being actively involved in the real estate process. And then I need some equity for what I did. Like if I bought something and all in, I'm in it for $1 million, it has to be worth $1.2 million when I'm done, or $1.3 million, whatever it is, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It's like you don't put $1 million in to have something that earns $1 million unless there's some weird thing like very heavy cash flow, etc. There's always, exceptions to every rule.
Well, look at people buying in Brooklyn right now. I mean,
what the
back like 10 years ago, I was 12, and I was looking at these big warehouse buildings with the old broken windows. I'm like,
I hate you for that.
Someday these are going to be apartments. I know it.
10 years ago, I was 28. He was 12. just saying. Keep going.
I was looking at it, and I'm like, someday these are going to be great apartment buildings. Okay, and lo and behold,
you should have bought it 12, bro.
I didn't have the money. I wish I did. I was trying to make the money. I was in the stock market at the time.
At 12?
If only. Yeah, I was trading. I had a.
You were trading at 12?
I had a kid account. Yeah, I did.
They have those?
Oh, what is it called? I can't think of it right now. I'm so
Is it
bad.
like
I was
fake
a broker.
money?
No, it's real money. And
Really?
I was the weirdest kid ever.
Was this the thing in school? You love money, huh?
Oh my god, man! I was gambling. I was gambling at 5 with my dad. My dad had me playing poker at 5 years old. I took.
But
that
you're not a flashy dude.
Oh god, no.
See, that's the interesting thing.
I'll give you the watch I got on my arm. It's a Michael Kors. It looks beautiful. I love it though, and I've looked at all the Rolexes out there too, and I think this is the best looking watch out there.
That's the interesting thing. I think like a lot of successful. I mean, there's flashy people, but like a lot of like successful people that just like want to do it because they like the game. Like I like the game, and they don't need all the flashy stuff. Like when you meet Matt, you realize like he's not gonna roll up in a freaking Maserati. He doesn't have a Rolex on his wrist. He's not like that. That's not who he is. He likes the game. He likes the action.
I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it.
And jet skiing.
Oh my god, jet skiing! Yes, that is something. Do you own jet skiing? You need to buy a jet ski.
My parents. I grew up on the water. I don't have a jet ski. I had a jet ski. We used to tow each other around on surfboards, and then we ran over one of those tow ropes, and the fucking thing blew up, and that was it. But unfortunately, I get calls on Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon to come look at nasty ass houses, which is why I would love to do more commercial because maybe I would sort of have a little bit more resemblance of a life.
You need to get yourself a jet ski because it's going to give you. It's just you, the view, and just the sound of the engine flat out, and it is a mental relief.
Yeah,
just
that you got from your
an hour or two.
That you got from your dad.
I did.
Your dad is a jet ski-aholic.
That is the best gift that he's given me besides life. Okay, I think jet ski.
I remember like one of my first interactions with Matt's father, who's a great guy. We've done deals together. Was let's go on the jet ski. Like that was like I think that was like one of the first 3 things out of his mouth. Like I'm going on the jet ski. We're going on the jet ski. I got extra jet skis. Let's go on the jet ski.
It is just it's an amazing thing.
As much as all of us might want to be like, oh, I'm not like my parents. Sooner or later, we want to all become our parents. And for you, it's the jet ski.
It is that in real estate, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Think about it. You guys probably are like, and when I think about it, I'm very similar to my parents. You're probably very similar to him, regardless of what you might think or want to admit. You probably are.
We are very alike. I want to touch upon the trust first, business second. It's so important that your clients trust you, okay? Because if they don't trust you, they're not going to listen to you. So you have to get that trust first and then go into the business part. But you need to, I can't tell you how many people I meet with that are like, I ask, how did you get involved with this person? Because I see the listing that you have up here. Everything is wrong. I mean, more than half of it's wrong. And no wonder you didn't sell. No wonder why you didn't sell. Why did you hire them? Oh, it's my daughter's friend, or it's my sister's brother's friend, uncle, kid, something. Oh, he was a nice guy. Don't hire your broker because you like them. Okay, first and foremost, hire them because you think they're honest and they're going to do a good job, flat out. You have to realize that in these multi-million-dollar deals that go on, when buyers are coming in, or these cash buyers, they might be offering these brokers, hey, I'll give you $30,000. Get $300,000 off the asking price, and I'll give you $30,000 under the table. I never take any money like that at all. Because
does that shit really go on?
It goes on all the time.
Really?
All the time. And I turn it away. And you know what? When those guys go to sell buildings, they call me.
Really?
They call me. They do. It goes on.
So let me ask you this not to give away secrets, obviously, but how do you suggest that other agents go about building trust with their clients in order to earn more business?
Well, first and foremost, you need to have a lot of money in the bank because, desperate people do desperate things. Thank God I've never been desperate before. Learn about the people. like I get calls from investors, for example, and they'll call me and they'll start asking about a property. The first thing I'll do is I'll stop them right in their tracks and say, I'll tell you anything you want to know about this property. I'll even show it to you today. But first, I want to go over, as an investor, what your criteria is. What are you looking for? What's your goal? Okay. How old are you? What's your budget? What are you looking for? What kind of properties do you want to buy in what areas? Okay. And where do you live? Get to know them. Okay. That way you can help them best.
This is for a guy who's looking, you're saying a guy who's looking to buy.
This is for a guy that's looking to buy, and for your clients that you're looking to take on as prospective, clients.
Yeah. To list the properties. Yeah.
You have to understand why they're looking to sell, what their game plan is like. I met with a guy the other day. He owns an auto repair shop, and his goal was his son's in high school. He's like 17 years old. He's going to be out soon, and he wants to go into the family business. So they wanted to sell and then go buy a property like not too far away.
What, to do local, the same thing?
Do the same thing. And he says, I just think this is a spot. And then he wanted to list the property thing. He was ready to go. I said flat out, given what your goals are, given this, stay here. You're better off here.
Yeah.
And I opened his eyes up, and he thanked me because I could have made the money on the sale and the purchase.
That's awesome.
And it could have been close to it would have been $89,000 roughly. Who's going to say no to that? How many people are going to say no to $89,000? I will. I will do it all day long because it's the right thing to do, and I'm a big believer in karma, and it's worked out thus far.
No, I believe that. I think that's a huge thing. I think if you like selflessly give value and you are honest with people, it's going to come back to you a millionfold. To shamelessly plug myself, I wanted to thank you because you sent me a client yesterday.
You're very welcome.
Right? So this gentleman, but similar thing happened. I mean, the fee wouldn't have been $87,000, but he called me up and he told me a scenario, and I said, "Listen, sir, like I appreciate that. Matt's a great guy. I appreciate him sending me the business, but you don't need me." I was like, "You don't need to do this. I think you can sell the property the way it is, and you don't have to incur the cost of doing what you think you need to do. If there's a problem later, then call me and we'll deal with it. But right now, given what you're telling me, we don't need that."
I forgot about that this morning, but I talked to him about that yesterday. I said, "You see, that's why I had you go and call him. He's doing the right thing."
Which in general, like, and that's the thing, you have a team of people that are like-minded, right? Like, I know if I refer someone to you, that you're not going to bullshit them. You're going to tell them, "Hey, listen, this is what it is," or not. And you feel comfortable doing that with me. And I think when you have a bunch of people like that around you, you become a force, and everybody in the force does a lot more business.
I couldn't agree with you more. As a kid, I asked so many questions from adults. I want to thank my father for having such great friends, because his friends, he's got guys that own big construction companies, big soda companies. I mean, you name it, he's got the friends in that business. And I cherry-picked from them as well, picking their brains when we were hanging out in my parents' backyard in the pool. I mean, I would always talk to them and learn. And I really can't thank my father enough for having me exposed to that.
I want to touch on something you said also before that we kind of like grazed over, but it's really important. So like, whether or not you knew it, you were very like methodical in your strategy. So you would go out there and you would look at different businesses and you would say, okay, what do they do well? What do they not do well? And let me kind of come up with my own hybrid. Very quick yet ridiculous story. So I used to online date a lot. Do you ever online date?
I have.
Fucking online dating was the greatest thing. Now you have those apps, they suck. It's not the same.
It reminds me of like when you see a property online, okay, and you see it, wow, look at a great property, and then you meet them you see it in person, and it's like,
online
whoa,
dating?
Yeah,
no, really? I loved online dating. Did you not like it?
You've never been catfished?
First of all, I'm so fucking old. I don't even really know what catfished is entirely. Like, I guess.
Okay, you got the girl that takes the photo from real up close. She looks
but you know that she's huge. You know that everybody knows that. If it's only.
I want to believe them.
Come on.
I want to believe them.
Listen, I mean, like, okay, if the girl is doing the picture from up high, or there's no body pictures, that she's a larger girl. Right? Not that that's bad, and I'm sure a lot of guys are into that. It's just what it is. Love who you are, put it out there. That's all I'm saying.
My aunt said it best: you need something to grab onto. All right,
you need something. A handle, as you call it. But so the point is this: like, I'm very similar in the sense that I came up with this theory called profile mirroring, which is like a little fucked up when I think about it, but like it's interesting. So I went through like 50 profiles of girls that aesthetically I would want to date, right? I'm like, this is the kind of girl I want to date, right? And then I screened their profiles and I would kind of highlight the points that they would hit. Like if one's like, oh, I really like family's very important to me, I like to travel, etc. And I would write those points down, and then I would put a check next to each girl that had it, and then I would plot the frequency to see what was most important to this group of people. And then I built a profile that hit all those points when I made my own profile. And then girls would write to me and they would be like, oh my God, I feel like I know you. We have so much in common, which is, again, this is a little fucked up, but it's not really a lie.
You are a genius. You are so smart. I can't take it.
It's not a lie in the sense that like, yeah, I like travel. I like my family. Like, of course. But when you're online and it's so superficial, how do you break through? Which is why I don't like the apps, or didn't like the apps, because like, so Bumble, you ever been on Bumble?
I have. I haven't like really used it though. I mean,
I was on Bumble for like 3 seconds, right? And so not only do you have to match with the girl, but then the girl has to initiate the conversation, which sucks. Like, if you take away my wit, what the hell? Like, what do I have left? Like, you got to I have to have the ability to reach out and communicate. If I can't do that, I'm fucked. I'm operating from damage control.
What do you got left? Money, a great smile. Come on.
No, but it's just a picture. You don't live Adam. Just some shiny white bald guy who could blind somebody in traffic if the sun hit my head right and kill somebody. So that's the point. The point is, I don't know what the fuck the point is. The point is this. Matt is very methodical. All that we come full circle to successful people being methodical, analytic, and then having a plan. And the plan can change. Right? Like when you first start doing real estate, you're like, I'm going to do residential. Then all of a sudden you're doing commercial. You might end up in development. You might end up doing any number of great things.
There are so many different ways to make money in real estate.
There's just so much money out there, period. Like it's so easy to be in a business and make money. People are like, how do I start it? I'm like, it's so easy. Hint, right? What the fuck do I know? Whatever you're into, right? You're into sports, you're into this, you're into that, whatever it is. You look at the industry and you say, what is it lacking? Like Captain Permit, back to selflessly plug Captain Permit. You know why I own Captain Permit? Because every architect I dealt with was an absolute nightmare, train wreck, disaster. And once you go through 12 of them, you're like, F it, I'm tired of dealing with these people. So you see kind of like a gap in the market, right? You see a gap in commercial, things that you do.
Oh, completely.
And you exploit that.
I do. Power is made by power being taken flat out. And I came in and I said, you know what? Let's do it.
Necessity is the mother of all invention.
I have to go and touch upon this, okay? And I don't know if you wanted to go here today.
Oh, boy.
You're saying, yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
I heard it on your last podcast. You don't own a house that you live in yourself. I personally, right now, I live in an attic. I live in an attic that's a 3-bedroom apartment attic. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's got one window, though, okay? It's like a cave. And I am so frugal with myself. I have apartments. I have buildings that I own where my tenants have a nicer spot to live than I do. And I'm sure maybe the same way a little bit.
Yeah, no.
At what point do we start to enjoy? I mean, because every time that I reach a goal, I move it again.
Okay. Yeah, well that's what
I crack the whip on myself.
That's what successful people do. So you're asking me why I don't own a house, or
well, not why. You don't want to take that capital and where you can be making more money with it, because me and you look at $100,000 and say, in the next 10 years by putting it there, we could have made this much with it, and that's exactly why I don't own the fancy car right now, even though it would be fun. But at what point in time do we realize, we're not going to be here forever. We're not going to live forever unless they make some really great changes with everything. I hope we can afford it. If there ever becomes a way to live forever.
I just hope I can get my hair back.
Oh.
But
bald is beauty, man. Bald is beauty.
But what's the answer to that? You know what it is? I think there's not one universal answer. It's like it's what you're into. Everybody, like when I tell people I don't have a house and they're like, you sell houses, that's ridiculous. Why don't you own a house? I'm like, it's just not my thing. Why do some people like old cars and some people not? Like, it's just all personal preference.
Are we afraid of commitment? Is that why we don't buy a house for ourselves? Because, I can buy a house today. Not today. I'm not going to close today. But I could buy a house. Fuck. I'd love to buy that one that you have. What is it?
Oh, Gilgo?
Gilgo.
Dude, that thing is so sexy.
One party. Somebody said it best. One party, that thing is gone. I got to check that out tomorrow. What time is the open house?
Gilgo. What time is the open house? 12 to 3, right? 19 Cottage Walk. 3,600 square feet of sexy. Water views from every angle.
Bayfront and oceanfront.
When I originally saw that house, I was supposed to live there.
You told me that.
I was supposed to live there with an ex, and it just didn't work out. So now it's kind of like got bad juju, and I got to unload it. But it's still awesome. Somebody else should move in there and enjoy that thing and blow it out. The guy I actually got it from was a mortgage guy. I met him at the closing, and he was a mortgage guy, and he was 25 years old at the height of the market before it crashed. And he said he was killing it, making a ton of money. He had parties there every weekend. He hired a limo, and the limo would drive the girls back and forth to from Merrick Road back. And at first she's like, this guy's full of shit. And then when I went into the house, there were pictures everywhere of it. Him with 3 girls laying on top of him, crazy parties, the limo, this shit was out of a movie. But we're selling it. $649.95.
You know what though? Another thing is too. Me and you, we work so much that we're never home. We're not home.
No, we're never home.
And there we go. We're saying never. We're rarely home.
Take
that word.
We sleep. We sleep.
I gave you that book today as a gift,
yes,
and this is my favorite book. One of only 3 books I've ever read that I wasn't forced to read. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book is worth more than its weight in gold, flat out.
I've never read this one before. I've heard of it.
You were gonna love it. So many different principles that I live my life by, I learned from that book.
What are a couple of?
I went to the bookstore. I bought 7 copies of that. When
Really?
I saw it. Yeah, because I wanted to buy a bunch of copies. I have so many people to give them to.
I feel good
And
that I'm one of the top 7.
You are the first one to get the book.
Nice.
From me, yeah.
So what if you had to take?
Use a highlighter for that.
Okay. If you had to take 3 things away from the book that you feel like everybody needs to know that are beneficial, what are like the 3 top points you took away from that book?
All right. I don't know if I can give you 3. I'm gonna focus on. I'll go one at a time.
All right. Meaning you're gonna give me more, or you're gonna give me less?
Maybe less, maybe more. We'll see.
Let's see where it goes.
Okay. It's about mindset. Learn how to control your own mind. Okay.
Very true.
Something my father taught me as well as the book. They agree with each other. The less time that you spend being depressed, the more money you're going to make, flat out. But learn how to control your mindset. If you envision yourself being broke and being on the street and being homeless, you're probably going to be there or close. Okay. If you imagine yourself being very, very successful and having this goal on how to get there, that's going to be what's going through your head. You're going to have those positive thoughts. But if you're always negative, forget about it. I deal with so much rejection in my business that I need to have that positive mindset and be so strong and have such a thick skin. There's nothing you could say to me today that's going to, turn me away flat out. And I just, you got to be a warrior. That also goes into the big successful salespeople that are around today are the people that can take rejection and then move on. Okay. And they don't let it get them down for like a week. They just say, okay, I got rejected, on to the next one. Okay. If only I could be that good with dating. Okay.
I was just going to ask you. I was going to ask you this question. If Matt is single, is he as ferocious and take no for an answer with girls that he is with?
I'm horrible. I'm awful.
Really?
I am not. I'm out of my comfort zone. I am.
Really?
Yeah. I am definitely really out of my comfort zone with dating. And I know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've gotten plenty of women in my life, more than a lifetime share, but it's not my comfort zone, flat out.
Wow. That's interesting.
High school, I used to ask my coaches. I said, "Coach, I don't understand.
What'd you play? Football?
I was the wrestling team captain.
Okay, I can see that.
And the singlet going on. I guess girls didn't like
the
that.
singlet.
Yeah.
What? The singlet's not cool?
I mean, some girls like it, but
Bro, they can see what you're working with. You got a hammer. It's like tucked to your leg.
There you go.
Oh.
Pick one leg, the left or the right.
Or stuff it. Put socks in there. Do something. Whatever it takes. No, that's false advertising. That's like when girls wear those 7 jeans and it makes their ass look more plump than it is, and then you find out it's not, and it's upsetting.
Where are we going with this?
Girls, don't do that. No false advertising.
How about the tissues? How about that back in high school?
You've had that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. That's like...
No, I've had the chicken cutlet.
That's a bad 80s movie.
I've had the chicken cutlet. I found one of those little things.
What the hell is that?
The chicken cutlet. It's like a fake boob. It's not like an implant. It's like a little piece of
What?
Looks like a freaking chicken cutlet. They put it in their bra to make them look like they have more volume. Talk about false advertising. Don't do that.
Thankfully, I've never experienced the chicken cutlet. I'm more of an ass guy myself anyway. So this brings me to, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, the most profound thing I ever heard a 10th grade girl say to me. So I was in 9th grade at the time. So 10th grade, how old are you in 10th grade? 14? 15? Tops? Is that my phone? So I guess you're 14 and 15. And this girl, I remember her name was Diane Trainer. Very nice girl. And she said to me, I don't even know what context this came out of. She was a little bit older than me, and she said, Charles, breasts are merely a pit stop on the way to the amusement park. I thought that was very profound for a 14 or 15-year-old girl to say. It's very true. Maybe that led to my appreciation for the lower half. I don't know. How did we get here?
I don't know.
We were talking about think big and grow rich, and we ended up on ass. So
okay, so going back to the book,
bring us full circle.
Going back to the book, they basically talk about you have to treat people well. They also talk about stories like Carnegie and how he was successful. Edison, you have to overcome obstacles in life. No man or woman ever became great by not overcoming some kind of obstacles. Flat out. And that's what makes you great. What makes me, and I do struggle with depression. I think we all do at one point or another, flat out. But what makes me happy, I found, is to continue to improve my situation. And it's so important every day to keep on improving. What gets me up in the morning, my employees, people that work with me, I don't want to call them employees. People that work with me get me up in the morning, okay? Because if I'm not there at that hour, okay, I'm costing not only myself, I'm costing them ways to strive and improve in their life. And I don't want to do that,
I think it couldn't have been better said than that. I think that's where it needs to end, which is essentially all the skills of a successful person are the same regardless of if you're selling real estate, widgets, houses, etc., etc. It's mindset. It's fails to succeed. It's never stop. It's have a delusional vision of the future. Then when everyone tells you it's not possible, it is possible. With that said, we're out of here. Dude, you're the man. I really appreciate you coming down. I really appreciate the book. I will read it. Yo, what is your phone number so people in the commercial world can get in touch with you?
Matthew Shane, head of All Island Commercial. My cell phone number, 516-279-8828. Call me up. Call me 11:30. See if I pick up.
At night.
On
a Saturday.
Call me on a Saturday at 11:30. See if I pick up the phone.
Where's the newer office?
It's going to be at 201 Higbee Lane. That's Higbie in West Islip, New York.
When are you opening up?
Before the end of the year. But you can call me anytime.
Mazel tov. All right, Charles, the handsome home buyer / Captain Permit. Right now, I'm the handsome home buyer. If you need us, call us. House that smells like cat pee. If you want to sell a house, if you're behind on your mortgage, if you're inheriting a house, land, commercial property, you name it, 516-777-SOLD. If you're a realtor, attorney, mortgage broker, contractor, you need permits. The towns are coming after you. That's just the way it is. They want your money. You have it. They need it. They're taking it. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to finagle. Call Captain Permit. Later.